Hello and welcome to Chessington World of Adventures again. I know we're here a lot, but it is actually Howloween today, so we're going to be taking in the scare mazes in Curse of the Lost Tomb, Trick or Treat Wood, and of course the new one, Creepy Caves Unearthed. We booked our ticket for 12:45. The maze is open at 12 today, so we're quite looking forward to those. We're not going to do too much else from the park. We've had a look at the construction. Nothing seems to have changed from when we were last here for the Misty Keys, or what we now know is going to be called a Land of the Tigers. So it's purely for the Halloween mazes today. We'll review them as we come out, so you'll get a kind of a first analysis of what we think of them, how detailed they are, and how they're going to flow for this year. We're probably going to start with Curse of the Lost Tomb. Hopefully that will allow us enough time to get back across for Creepy Caves Unearthed before taking a little trip through Trick or Treat Wood. So we'll see you at Curse of the Lost Tomb. Can't wait for it. Well, that was Curse of the Lost Tomb. Now, for no one that's been to Chessington recently, you know, these mazes aren't terribly scary mazes. They are family attractions, or certainly that one is. We're not quite sure on the new Creepy Caves yet, because we're going on that one shortly. So, you enter the tomb, there's a lovely little kind of person to meet you. She tells you about the story of the tomb. She tells you about kind of whether you're going in for treasure or whether you're going in to explore. Who knows what you're going in for? You then go into the next room where you have to spell out curse. Now, I remember last year you actually had to spell out curse on the floor by standing in the right places. This year's kind of a little bit more simplified, where you have to kind of guess what it was, and once you guessed it, the skull kind of pointed to which way you needed to walk through the room. Once you walk through the room there, you're into the next scene. You've got cogs on the wall, you kind of press the right buttons. It's very child interactive. It's not something that the adults are going to particularly enjoy doing. It is dark in there. There are lots of ropes hanging from the ceiling, so it's not kind of, all lovely lights and everything. It is quite dark. The actors will hide behind kind of their scene doors, and they will jump out on the person in the front. So if you're at the front, you can expect them to appear out of nowhere. But again, they don't do it in a scary, this is going to haunt you way. This is a storytelling maze. Every single area you go into tells a story. Even the final area with the big tomb right in front of you tells a story. The walls cave in a bit, so you stand away from the sides, you're kind of left on the back. And then you kind of go out through a real enclosed tunnel, a really dark tunnel, with weaving, hear the vampire in the background, with weaving kind of parts in between. You've got some flashing lights, you've got some skulls, you've got some skeletons out. It's good fun. I can understand certainly for how many that it could be a little bit scary. For your real young ones, I mean, I think the children that are in there looks about 5 or 6, not necessarily the recommended age of 8. But, scenery-wise, it looks really, really good in there. And of course, the actors have to be top-notch. It's not about them just jumping out at you. It's about them having to talk to you and interact with you, remembering lines, and, really telling a story. If the actors aren't very good and they don't tell a story, it's not going to go very far. So, we're done with Curse of the Lost Tomb. We'll wait for the vampire to go over. We'll check it coming over our heads shortly. See if I can possibly remember where it's coming from after all these years. So yes, it's not the most scariest maze, but we're going to head on now to Creepy Caves Unearthed. We're going in that in about 20 minutes. This is Chessington's scariest maze, and you'll notice we're filming this as we're walking through what used to be Haunting in the Hollows, the vampire maze, because that for us has been the most scariest maze Chessington's ever put on. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do. Let's go and have a look. So behind us is the exit to Creepy Caves Unearthed, the new maze for 2017. Now then, that was an experience. We have been through it now. That was a real experience, a real different experience. So you kind of entrance up the top. So the places we've been taking photos of for the last sort of couple of weeks in preparation, that is where you enter the cave. So the old entrance here is the exit, and the old exit is completely unused. So it was a bit disorganised getting in there, I'm not going to lie to you. The tent outside in this wind as a hurricane due today felt like it was going to blow away, to be honest. But once we were in there, we kind of met up with one of the researchers who took us down the big spiral staircase down into creepy caves. And the part you go into is effectively where the exit was. So for those that remember, you used to go over a little bridge part with cabinets either side and an exit to the left. So that's where you enter the attraction. So he talks to you about the research they're doing in the facility inside, and he talks to you about meeting a doctor. This part of it is a little bit dull, I'm not going to lie to you, and we didn't have very high expectations for it at all. However, it all changed from there. So we went into a room which was sandwiched between the two old cabinets which were in there and the final kind of scenes. And then we had a look at a plant. Now, very funnily, the plant was the toxic plant which you were looking for inside the maze. The toxic plant did look plastic, and one of the little children in there did mention that it looks a bit plastic. This was the same child that was burst into tears by the end, so that kind of gives you an indication of what that means. So you can see behind us someone else that's crying. We'll get onto that in a minute. You then get ushered back into the same room again rather than progressing through the maze. It's a little bit confusing as you take a different route round. From here, the maze takes a massive turn. You enter a room. The room inside has got kind of skulls and skeletons everywhere. You've got hanging body bags, you've got strobe lights, you've got dark, you've got smoke. This maze, the second half of this maze, really wouldn't fill out a place at Fort Park. To be honest with you, it's far scarier than mazes like Blair Witch were last year. So the rooms inside are really dark and really quite intense, and when you've got body bags hanging from the ceiling and you've got strobe lights and you've got smoke, and the actors, they are in your face. They are in every single section of it, and they are in your face. They've got very scary masks on. They are there to jump out of you, and they do jump out on you. So yeah, the exhibits have been completely ripped out. The scenery is all gone. You wouldn't recognise it as a creepy, crawly house at all. It's completely been gutted out with skeletons and kind of, dead hanging bodies and loads of different bits and pieces put in there. So it feels like a real, true scare attraction. Once you're through it all, you head into a decontamination area at the end. There's a projection screen, they talk to you about it, and they say you're not going to escape. Again, more strobe lights, more flashes, more smoke coming up before you exit the attraction. Now, this is not something for your standard Chessington visitor, and it's great that the park have done this, and I really hope they don't shy away from it as well, because this is definitely aimed at the older generation, and we understand why it's a paid-for maze. And to be honest, it's a really good experience and quite a long experience. Creepy Caves is fairly short as an attraction, but by the time you've had kind of an opening scene, you've had a scene just after the opening scene, and then you walk through the maze and had a final scene. We think we were in there 6 or 7 minutes perhaps. It's great interaction by the actors who are in there. They have a lot to remember, and then the ones that are there to scare you do a fantastic job at jumping out on you. Strobe lights, smoke, it's all really in your face. It's what you'd expect to find in one of the big Halloween parks. And of course, what we said about children going through. Now, please, if you are visiting the park, this is not suitable for under 10s. I have an 8-year-old, I will not be taking him through this attraction. It is not suitable for him. It's dark, it has a lot of smoke, there's a lot of bangs, there's a lot of very scary looking people in your face, not to mention strobe lights and kind of dead skeletons kind of hanging out of the exhibit. It's really not for children. You see behind us there some children going in and coming out crying, and when we went through as well, we had people kind of smiling at the beginning and they were crying by the end. Your child will be crying. It will be a waste of £6 if you bring them through here, and it will probably give them nightmares. So please, heed the warnings. Whatever you think, this is not like Curse of the Lost Tomb. You want your child to start somewhere, start with a free one at Curse of the Lost Tomb. That's a great story, a few mild jumps, and the jumps that are there are all kind of fun and interactive with the actors. This is not that. This is more in your face, scary than what Curse of the Lost Tomb is. So start with Curse of the Lost Tomb. They like Curse of the Lost Tomb, and they like it a lot, and they weren't scared at all. Maybe then purchase a ticket for this. It's not been very busy today. Most people are over at Trick or Treat Wood. We're going to have a quick look around there in a minute. So it's not been that busy. I think you'll be able to get tickets all day long, and the maze is open from 12 to 8. Big thumbs up for Curse of the Lost Tomb, and big thumbs up for Creepy Caves, particularly the park. This is easily their scariest maze, much scarier than the vampire haunting in the hollows. I was a bit worried it wouldn't be, but it was, and it definitely is not something for children. Let's go and have a look at Trick or Treat Wood. That is something for children. So, due to the wind and rain, we've had to kind of retreat home. We are quite a little bit away from the park, but to be fair, you know, we're heading back this way anyway after a couple of days out on the road. It's been very windy, it's been very wet, it's been October, so who are we to complain? Chessington World of Adventures, Howloween. So we've experienced that today. As we said at the park, you know, it's a very different experience for them. You know, rather than just the two mazes with Curse of the Lost Tomb and the Trick or Treat Woods, they've been joined by Creepy Caves Unearthed. As we said at the time, Creepy Caves Unearthed is a scary maze. Not necessarily your teenage market, but when you think that Chessington are trying to attract the family market, you know, this is definitely for the older children in the family and not for the young children. It's a very brave move from Chessington, but I'm telling you now, it's paid off really well. The event itself, you know, there's a couple of shows on. You've got a Room on a Broom as well, story time, as addition to the free mazes. Yes, you do have to pay for Creepy Caves Unearthed. However, it's probably worth the money. £6, £4.80 if you're a Merlin annual pass holder. It's worth the money, and it does keep out, or it should keep out, the younger children and just kind of people queuing for it willy-nilly. We highly recommend it. We highly recommend it. We go to Chessington every year. Some years they have good years, some years they have bad years. We love Curse of the Lost Tomb. We think the storytelling there is brilliant. You know, the scenery, however kind of plastic it is, really is irrelevant. It is brilliant in there. The way it kind of flows through is excellent. We really do like it. And you know, the Creepy Caves Unearthed has been completely transformed inside. You know, there might be some areas you recognise, but generally completely different. If there's anyone thinking out there that this will be transformed back into an insect house, I'd be very surprised, because most of it's been ripped out. Certainly the displays and enclosures have been ripped out. So, big thumbs up to Chessington. You've got a week to visit them now before the park closes. That's not just closing for Halloween, that's closes for the season before we await Zoo Days and indeed the Christmas period. So, Chessington World of Adventures, massive success. Really hope you've enjoyed the vlog. Make sure you get down to the park this week.